2021. It was a weird year, to say the very least. But for me, it was a year of a lot of things happening. Like, I graduated this year. That was weird. That was a lot. I'm just gonna do a year in review video of 2021. A lot of fun recommendations, things like books and TV shows, and also just sharing for myself and for others the things I got to do in 2021. First up, January. Got into painting more. I've been doing art pretty much my whole life, but I got more into painting in 2021. I finally did this ginormous portrait of Hosey here. And I love this quite a bit. It's one of my favorite paintings, although to this day, I don't think it's finished. I also, in this month, found Hamilton. Late to the game, I know, but I fell in love with Hamilton and I reunited my spark for Broadway musicals. In this month, I also got my tablet, got it to start doing digital art again, and I definitely did start doing more digital art this year, more than I have in probably any other past, which also feels weird because I didn't do that much art in 2021 compared to my past, but the art I did do this year I'm very proud of, just not as much as I wish I did. Recommendations from January. I continued from the year before reading a lot of Shadowhunters, but I highly recommend the Shadowhunters TV show. I think it's a great show, especially for LGBT representation. This was also the year and the start of Marvel on Disney+. We got WandaVision in this time, and I highly recommend that, of course. How can I not? I'm gonna recommend every Marvel show, but we'll get there in their respective months. February. Not too much happened in February for me, so I just have some recommendations going on for this month. In my personal life, we were doing a lot of things for Broadway musicals at my school still, which, like I said, you can find on my channel. I also read The Knife of Never Letting Go, which is a novel. The Tom Holland movie came out a bit after, called Chaos Walking, which didn't get amazing reviews, but I actually thought it was really good because I read the book. I can definitely see how that movie is jarring, not having read the book. March was fantastic. It was my birthday, I turned 18 in March, and I got serious into photography. I got my camera December of the year before, and I started doing photography more seriously and getting into film and actually learning the ropes in March. A month I also met my roommate, Lexi, who I love with my whole soul. Her for my birthday, we went to Mall of America, we did a photo shoot together, we went to a waterfall, she came back and we did a bunch of stuff. Anyway, I met Lexi this month, and that made March of 2021 really special for me, frankly. April, Lexi came back again, and her and my high school best friend, Evie, did a lot this month. We drove around, we came together on Easter, we got lunch and dinner together. I had lots of photo shoots this month, which I'm going to throw up pictures from. Also, was Lexi's birthday, and I got to go hang out with her in River Falls and Hudson, and it was the birth of the boneless joke, which is boneless humans are meat sack soup. My April recommendation is The Watchmen, which is a graphic novel that is fantastic. I've actually seen critiques and reviews that have just said that this movie is one of the most book-accurate representations on screen of all time, and having seen and read both, I think that's very true. March also brought to us The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It was impactful, it was crazy, it was very cool. It ushered in what will surely be the next era of Marvel. So, a great show all around, just in my opinion the weakest of the 4-5. Now, May. End of April into May. But May brought me prom, which was frankly great. I had 2 proms in my high school time, thanks to COVID, and not 3. And I thought my final prom was a really good way to close everything out and have fun with some friends. It went about as smoothly as I could have hoped for it to go. I also brought a camera to prom, which was fun, and I ended up being one of the photographers for people I was friends with anyways, which was interesting. I got to play photographer, which I wasn't supposed to, but I had a great time. It was very fun getting to do that. Of course was my graduation itself, which is weird. I graduated that month. My main recommendation is The Quiet Place 2. I seen The Quiet Place 2 in theaters. It was the first horror movie I ever seen in theaters. June 2021 brought upon my grad party, which was subpar, but in all, because the day after, I went on my senior trip. We didn't get senior trip because of COVID, So my roommate and I planned a getting to know each other dash. We both love traveling and wanted to travel, and we drove down to Milwaukee, which was my first time in Milwaukee, which was so cool. And I got to meet Honey Creek. Creek are this amazing pop punk band from Milwaukee, and I've known one of their members, Ellie, through their old band, Trees and This, and Chris technically, for like over 5 years now, which is crazy. That seems like so much, which I guess it is. But I got to meet Ellie and Chris, and we had lunch, and it was great. They were great. Snuck into the Pfister Hotel, which is a haunted hotel. If you know me, I love ghosts. I love paranormal investigation stuff. We snuck in for like 10 minutes. That was very cool. We went to the Pabst Mansion, and got a tour there. We went to the art museum, which was amazing. Lexi, join me. The art museum was very cool. I hate driving, I'm like terrified of it, and I'm forever thankful for Lexi for being my driver on that trip, and I hope she had half as much fun as I did on that trip, besides the time I almost died. Whole story, maybe for another day. We don't talk about it. Moving on. June recommendations. Honey Creek, first of all, obviously, check out their music if you like pop punk, especially like small town pop punk. They are genuinely phenomenal. Like, I love those guys so much. And then my other like biggest thing that happened in June, which is weird to say this is the biggest thing, but it definitely is Critical Role and my reuniting passion for Dungeons and Dragons. I got so insanely hyper-fixatingly obsessed with Critical Role over the summer. After I got back from Milwaukee, it took over the rest of my year. I watched Campaign 2, Critical Role, 550 episodes in less than 3 months. I also watched about 10 episodes of season 1, and I am on like episode 7 or 8 of season 3 as of now, which if you don't know, in total is probably real close to 700 hours. On top of that, also while watching other D&D podcasts, like Hero Squad, which I really recommend. Other June recommendations though, Loki came out. It was fantastic. Another thing from this month, the Icarly reboot happened. That's weird. It was good though. In the Heights, Lin-Manuel Miranda never fails to amaze us all. The In the Heights movie was gorgeous, it was beautiful, it was impactful, it's probably the best musical on screen. July. My recommends for July, Black Widow came out. Personally, kinda loved it. Definitely not in like my A or S tier for Marvel movies, but like a solid middle B. And I opened a Redbubble account, which I will totally link below and you can check out. I have a lot of designs in there. A lot of them are Critical Role and Hozier related, so if you like Hozier's music, or if you like Dungeons and Dragons, I have a lot of those kind of designs. I have some other ones too though that are really cool, and I have some photography stuff on there. Just a few things. August. This is where this video gets fun, because I get to talk about something else I love very dearly. Gish. I was on a fantastic team with some fantastic people. Some friends from previous years that I've done Gish with, and I did it again with 2 or 3 of them, and then I got added to this team. Oh, Gish, if you don't know, greatest international scavenger hunt ran by the one and only amazing Misha Collins. The team I got put onto, completely by random, was mostly from the Midwest, which is near me. So anyway, if you don't know what Gish is, if you've never done it, I cannot recommend it enough. This was my 3rd large-scale Gish, and I've done 3 or 4 small events in the past. I love it so much, it's so fun. And now I get to share with you 2 Gish prompts I have in my house still, as long as the ones that have already been up on the screen. I usually spend like 20 bucks on Gish, on top of registration, which goes to charity. But I don't like spending that much money because I think it's just a fun like arts and crafts or like charitable thing. I've always wanted to do it because Gish usually always has a Skittles prompt, and this year it was Loki, so I stole it right away from my team, and I spent $25 on just this. I made a massive Loki out of Skittles. It took me so many hours. And another fun one I did for Gish this year, which I did this one really quick. It was nothing compared to the Tom Hiddleston one, but there was a make a villain cheery using Cheerios. So I made this horrific Thanos with the Infinity Stones out of Cheerios on cardboard painted. He's so horrifying. Oh, and he's like 3D. He's got like a horrifying nose. I don't know if you can tell. He's real gross, and I love him. Right, I have some videos of Gish on my channel from this year and years prior. Check them out, they're cool. Other things that happened in August. I got to see my first concert since COVID happened, and don't worry, it was pretty damn safe because there was like 10 people in the audience and it was outside. No, I got to see Silver Warehouse in person for the first time, which is crazy. Which once again, this is a really small band. The bassist is from my high school and they're based out of North Dakota now, and they make fantastic music. End of August, like a day after that show, I moved into college. Crazy! I moved in super early because I started a job, which was good, but I also hated a lot. We'll get back to that in a bit. I also spent August in this transitional time building my D&D world even more. If you don't know, I have a world called Lathandor or Lathandor. Even I don't really know my pronunciation, and like a politics system and a government and like the history and the lore, and I painted myself this beautiful map and I love it a lot, and I've been playing with that currently now. In September, college started. I started my first year on campus anyways as a college student. I met my super cool film friends and theater friends, Adrian being one of the best. I love Adrian to death. She kind of joined our little squad and it's great. I also made other friends like Colin, Logan, Jaden, more, but the ones I just listed are my D&D group. And I started D&D in person and I got to DM again. I was in my world that I've been working on for so long and happy to have friends to play in it with. The other best thing about September is Renaissance Fair, which I'm going to throw so many pictures up over here. I got to do Ren Fair for the second time, but I went twice this year, and it's just the best. I brought Adrian, and I brought Lexi, and I brought my camera the first time, and I took so many photos, and it was just the best. May or may not have spent $50 impulsively on a pirate hat, and probably spent over $300 on additional materials to build my costume or my garb. I have like 4 or 5 different like availabilities of costume to change out now because I have so many Ren pieces, and I love Ren fairs. If you haven't been to one, if you live in the States or if you visit the States in the summer, I can't recommend them enough. A weird part of September that I forget happens but did is I spent 2 weeks as the student stage manager of a play. I did a 2-week live reading of the play Typhoid Mary, which some friends from high school who also go to my college happened to randomly get cast for, so half of the cast ended up being from my old high school, which is really weird by the way, because I went to a very tiny high school. But yeah, the Scotland prep started this month. I am hopefully going to Scotland this year now, which is weird to say. Whoo, that's odd. I got my passport this year. That's cool. My September recommendations: Ren Fairs and Lucifer. Lucifer ended this month. Oh, so glad Lucifer got saved by Netflix and I got to actually finish out their show as they should. I don't know if I liked was there 6 seasons? I'm assuming there was 6. I could be off by 1, but I don't think the last season was as good as the second to last, quite as much, but the finale was still great. I cried. Sorry, I have a Canto song stuck in my head. We don't talk about Bruno, no, no, no. Beautiful, wonderful October. Hating my job at this point, 2-ish months in, and I finally quit a few weeks in and got out of it. It was hurting my back so much, and the hours were weird. Not horrible, but weird. The last day of my job, the very next day, 48-hour film fest happened, which is what gave us Never Forget. And can't believe to say this, I don't think I've ever actually said this on my channel yet, but we won 2 awards for that. One of which we did not expect at all. The other one, we had a lot of people vote for us and a lot of friends, so I'm very happy we won Audience Choice, although I think some other people there had better films. But no, we got Best Acting, which as the director, you know, I'm proud of my friends, and I still worked so hard on that. I think it's pretty okay for me learning Adobe that week, literally. I went ice skating. And had a little D&D day party with my D&D group. We all walked around in costumes and took pictures, and it was super fun. and my friend dressed up as a dinosaur and walked around campus and through town, and it was just the best. My October recommendations, I had finished C2 at this point and started Critical Role Campaign 3, so I highly recommend starting Critical Role Campaign 3, especially if you've never watched Critical Role or a D&D stream before. We're early enough now that I can still recommend hopping in and giving it a try. November for me was categorized, just a lot more D&D obsession. Not too much happened in November. It was finals-ish time, winding down, working hard. Got tickets for my first concert this year now, in mid-March. Hopefully COVID permits. Seeing Mayday Parade, who I've loved for like 6 years now, and I'm super excited to see them in person. And finally, December. I was sick for the majority of the month. It was not a great time. I felt like crap for pretty much the whole month. There's this podcast called And That's Why We Drink. It's a murder and true crime podcast that I adore. I found them at the very beginning of the pandemic, so about a year and a half ago, and they have like 270-ish episodes. Let's just say I'm caught up on the entire show. Paranormal and true crime. And That's Why We Drink. Definitely where it's at. Check out Em and Christine. They're great. And then of course December brought us Spider-Man and Hawkeye. I got into Marvel from Hawkeye when I was very young. It's a weird in-character, I know, but he's mine. Him and Kate. Spoilers ahead, obviously, for the next like minute if you want to skip. Kingpin in the MCU, Matthew Murdock in the MCU. Oh my god. Speaking of things I did in December and November, I rewatched all of Daredevil and Jessica Jones and Defenders, most of which for like the 5th and 10th time. I can't even express Spider-Man and seeing all the Spideys on screen together. It's just phenomenal. I can't believe it happened in my lifetime, especially because I grew up with Toby, and now we got Toby, Andrew, and Tom all together. Oh, I cried in the theater. Matthew, Daredevil is also in that movie. Oh my god. And then lastly, for December, I want to tell you what my Spotify Wrapped was. Wrapped top 5 genres were K-pop, emo, modern rock, show tunes, and pop punk. My top 3 people of the year were BTS, Fall Out Boy, and Hozier. So now, here we are, 2022. Last year was crazy. It was a lot. It was intense. I'm hoping to travel in the new year, and I'm hoping for more fantasy and art and inspiration and creativity in my new year. It is really the only goals I'm holding myself to travel and create. Thank you for recapping my last year with me. I hope your year went well. Feel free to share with me below some of your favorite things. Like, comment, and subscribe. It would mean a lot. Like, really, it means so much. I would love to see if I can get any growth at all on YouTube as well in this new year. That'd be super. That's all. Have a happy new year. Woo!